With our days full of adventure, it's time to find some peace in a Buddhist monastery. And then we're lured into a palace with its charm and grace. Hi, Michelle here from Travelling Over 60. Come join me on this adventure. We arrived in Hue yesterday, but it was a long journey here. Go and watch this video to see what we did. Then I take you on a tour around our hotel and, of course, to have a look at our room. Wow. But now it's time to come and see what we did on our first day in Hue. Just taking a look at the map where Hue is. Okay, let's start with looking at our itinerary. So as you can see here, this is what we'll be doing for today, although we did do the pagoda first. And as you can see down the bottom here, point 1, they are reminding us we're going into the citadel. We need our shoulders and knees covered. Here's our weather check-in. So it's 5 a.m. in the morning and it's 26 degrees. But look down the bottom there. The high is going to be 36 degrees, and that's going to make it tricky for what we wear because we have to keep our shoulders and our knees covered. For us, my husband put on a pair of long shorts that covered over his knees. I had on a pair of loose-fitting pants. We both had t-shirts on. We had sunglasses, hats, sunscreen, and bug spray. This is just giving you a look at some of the different things that people wore, and nobody was turned away, even though we could see some knees from some of the people. Okay, we've arrived at the Tien Mo Pagoda, and it's such a beautiful sight. We started with a selfie. But for anyone with a mobility problem, this may not be a really beautiful sight. All those stairs at the front. But wait, I'll show you another way. Okay, so we're at the monastery and you can go up the front through some steps. Hopefully, hubby's gone that way. He can show you the steps. But if you can't do the steps, we're just walking up this slope, which is easy walking at an incline. And I'll show you the steps a bit later. Here we are, we've got to the top of the slope, a few stairs. But nothing like what's at the front of the pagoda. So we're going to make our way round and meet the others that have come up the stairs. Okay, inside, this is the ground. A bit puffed, it was a bit of a slope. And the grounds are beautiful. And we're going to meet up with the others that came up the stairs, just up here. Now, once inside, a few more steps in through the gate. A little lip, don't chip over. Some more steps to go down. And then we're going to meet up with the others over there. That's a sneak peek. Now walking along here looks flat, but this here is a step. So always watching where your feet are going so you don't trip. Okay, looking here, you can see these are the steps. Now, Warren's just gone and walked these steps for you. And this is what they look like up here in the corner. That's a picture of the steps. But looking at the view from up the top here, really beautiful. And then, look at that. So this is what the steps look like. You can see they're quite a decent step up. And some of the steps are broken. They have cracks in them. And then there's a fair few, but then you make it up onto this flat area here. Once you get to the top, take a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the view. Oh, and time for a selfie in front of the pagoda as well. Now we're heading back the way that we came in up the slope. Now take your time to look at the ground. Remember those steps I showed you, little tiny lips. And look at the edging around the trees. Be careful not to fall in there. Now I know this all seems like basic information, but you know that when you're walking around these places, and especially something like a pagoda, you're looking up. Watch what your feet are doing as well. Okay, looking around. If you walk on the grass, be careful roots of the trees. Okay, walking further along. Now there's lots of things to see, and some of them do have steps, but you can still see from a distance. Okay, we're back to these big stairs again. We're going back up this way to the temple. And our tour guide tells us some stories about the good and the bad. But that's your adventure. Moving on to the temple. Now there's a few hazards here. They're burning incense, so if you are affected by that with asthma or something, keep this in mind. We also have to take our shoes off here, and as you can see, the only place to sit is on the stairs. So maybe think about some shoes that might just slip off and on really easily. Once you step inside, there is tiles on the floor and you come across some mats and things like that. Some people left their socks on and some just walked in bare feet. Both is acceptable. As a sign of respect, there's no talking in here. There is people at the altar and they are praying, and we respect that. But there's plenty to just wander around and have a look. This bell was amazing. And I loved looking in these glass cabinets. Now, if you're looking here, this is where the altars are. Just beautiful. Now, of course, we didn't walk in, but there is a big step there. Just a gentleman praying here. Maybe just enjoy the silence just for a moment. And here's another one of those glass cabinets with the figurines in them. I was fascinated by them. Very beautiful. Once we're finished in there, we have to put our shoes back on and then we move round the grounds. And I'm so glad we had a guide with us to tell us all the different stories. Now, this is a monastery and it's an active monastery. And this just tells you what their timetable is for the day. And if you want to know what this says, that's your adventure. Now, this monastery has a bit of a sad call to fame. Some of you may know the story, picture in the background, car in the front. But again, I'm going to leave that story for your adventure. It was so incredibly quiet here. All you can hear is our tour guide talking.
Vietnam, we practice bonsai, but we also practice this rockery, is Vietnamese. Yes. It's a big wood.
And as I said, it's a working monastery. Here is one of the monks that's tidying up around the bonsai garden here. Now, if you do walk into this bonsai garden, be careful of that little ledge there in front. It's so peaceful here. People just sitting around praying. They pray by the Buddhists. I just want to show you a closer look at the water lilies. They are amazing. All over Vietnam, wherever we've seen them, they are so beautiful. Okay, let's keep going. And it's just crickets, that's all you hear. No traffic, really lovely. Watch my step. Now take a look at this bonsai. This is just out of this world, so beautiful that we had to take a selfie in front of it. Next we're heading off to the Imperial Citadel. And boy, was this place huge. We dropped off on this side of the moat, and you can see in the moat they grow lotus now. I'll show you something interesting a bit later. Now we have to make our way with the motorbikes through this tunnel across to where the entry of the citadel is. Do as the Vietnamese do. We walk like sticky noodles, not sticky rice. Oh dear, all that means is instead of walking in a clump of people, we walk single file and stick close together. Now it was only a short walk before we got to the entry. Once inside, you get the feel of how enormous this is. Big parade ground in the citadel. Look at the sunflowers. The Imperial Palace. Another selfie before we go into the Imperial Palace. One thing we have noticed in Vietnam, stairs everywhere. So we're inside the citadel and you can see lots of stairs to go up and get a good view. That's hubby at the top there. He's gone up and he's going to take a photo of the view. But not for me. This is a definite hazard for me. I can do some stairs, but not that many. And not in this heat. It's only 10 a.m, but I'm sure it's up into the 30s now. So let's take a look at the steps. That's going up, and this is looking at them going down. Now, I thought hubby was just going up to see a view, but he saw so much more than just the view. Maybe if I would have known that there was all this up the top, I might have made the effort to go up the stairs. But at least he was up there. He took some photos for us, and this is just a sneak peek for you to have a look at what is up those stairs if you'd like to try and go up them. I really would have liked to have seen this. It's a model of the whole area. But I'm going to have to settle for a photo. Lucky we can get around in the buggies. Oh.
One more coming, so we have 3.
Cute. Okay, we've stopped for a comfort stop here. Only long enough to go to the bathroom. Bathrooms are just over in the distance there for ladies and men. But wait, I should show you. There's stairs, so if you can't do the stairs, no, they're not very high. You could step up.
It was very significant. It was built to pay memorial to what the emperor's done for the country. And it's 13 meters high. And big was the high limit of the entire complex.
Okay, I'm not sure if you're getting the feel for this. There's more stairs. Then once at the top, we walk through those arches and we have to go down more stairs. And I learnt all about the Instagrammers in Vietnam. They dress up in traditional dress and take photos everywhere. The architecture on the buildings was amazing. But we're making our way through these beautiful gardens now and a little bit more architecture as we walk through this arch. But we're going to get back on our little carts that will take us around to where the palace is. Now we hop out of our little carts and we have just a little bit of walking till we get to the palace. And just to update you, it's hot. But look at this, it's worth it. This is the palace. And take a look at this sneak peek. And again, there's stairs all the way to the front door. Now, some of our fellow travellers didn't want to go through the palace, so they just relaxed outside and sat in this little pergola. We were greeted by the Queen when we entered inside, and there were so many beautiful things to see. This is just a sneak peek. You were allowed to take photos and videos all through, but there was sections where they were barricaded and you couldn't go. And for those of you that know me, I love a good his and hers. This is how they would have been carried around. His and hers. Dining room where they would have sat and eaten. Now these I was fascinated with. They even have their shoes and some boots. Amazing. Now I know we're seeing amazing things inside these buildings, but come outside and look at the architecture of these buildings and more steps. I'm just fascinated with it. Now we're making our way towards the exit. Oh, and I want a photo of this lotus, but there's stairs if you want to get down close to take this photo. Now we keep walking further along and we come across this gorgeous little bridge. Little bridges along the way while we're walking around them, like a ramp up and down. Make sure you can do that sort of thing before you start walking. Okay, this is the last little bit. We're just walking to the end. But remember at the beginning I said I'd tell you something about the lotus. Take a look at this. Do you see the fellow picking the flowers? This is what the flowers look like. But imagine having to walk through all that water just to pick flowers. One last selfie before we get back on the coach and then head back to get some lunch. Now this place was just round the corner from our hotel and it may not look like much, but the food was beautiful. I hope you liked that video, but the day's not over yet. We still have a river cruise to do for an afternoon tea, and we meet a dragon later in the night. You don't want to miss that, but that's going to be in the next video. Now, just before I finish this video, if you've been following along, you may have heard me say in the last video that there was a threat of a typhoon around. Well, more comes of that typhoon, but I just want you to hear the message that I sent home to my family and friends so that they didn't worry. Take a look at this. There's a typhoon, I think they're calling it a super typhoon, in Vietnam. Yes, there is, but it's not near us at the moment. We're safe. And it's, I think we're here in this place. We're in a place called Hue, spelled H-U-E. We're here for 2 days and then we're going to head up to Hanoi. That's where the typhoon is, but they're telling us by the time we go there, it'll be gone. So we don't need to worry, we're safe, and if it hasn't gone and it's creating drama where we're going, then they're just going to change the itinerary. So did we get caught up in that typhoon? You'll have to keep watching to find out. But for now, if you've liked this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment or share it with your friends. And if you haven't already rung that notification bell, maybe you'll ring that bell and you will not miss any of my videos. They'll be sent to you. And lastly, I want to thank you for your support, especially all the ones that are following along on all my adventures. I really appreciate that you do that. Now, coming up in the next video, yes, a little bit more on the typhoon, but we will also be catching a flight from Hue all the way up to Hanoi. You can't miss that. So see you in the next video.